of 1981. Who knows the title of the highest grossing slasher movie of 1981 in the corner? Halloween 2 is correct. Please come up. Halloween 2 was our third Shriekfest presents last summer. That was an awesome 35mm screening.
Exactly.
Let's see what we have for you tonight. We have the screenplay for the original Friday the 13th, written by Victor Miller. I wish we had the screenplay for part 2, but it is notoriously difficult to find. That is a really awesome script. I hope you enjoy it. A few things about that original Friday the 13th script. One of the major deaths from the movie is not in there, but there's a lot of cool scenes and things that didn't make the film, like the fact that Mrs. Voorhees puts the snake in the Allison cabin. Who knew? Thank you. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so now we have two special guests I'm introducing to the screen. One of them, you see his name on the screen, and then one of them is a last-minute addition, but we're happy to have them both tonight. First, I want to introduce our first guest, Russell Todd, who stars as Scott in Friday the 13th Part 2, and I also know him from Where Was the Lake Bar 1984, and a favorite here in LA, Chopping Mall.
Whoa! Who's on Chopping Mall?
Let me get you a mic. There you go.
Thanks for coming out tonight. It's great.
All right, our second special guest tonight is stars as Ted or Teddy in this film, Friday the 13th Part 2, and you can also see him in John Carpenter's Christine. Let's welcome to the screen, or to the stage, Stuart Charno.
Ooh. Hey. Ooh. I don't know all of you. Hi. Hi. I know you.
Hi. Oh.
Yes.
I'm sure we all feel like we know both of you. I'm sure we are all super fans who have seen this film so many times. These guys seem like friends. Now, I want to start with a few questions to both of you, and then we'll open it up to the audience. First, I want to just say personally, I'm going to give you a little background on me and Friday the 13th. You can see that I'm quite a super fan. And since I'm just here with a few close friends tonight, I feel like I can share this with you all. It's a bit embarrassing. I saw the original Friday the 13th on opening night in 1980. I was 8 years old. It was my first R-rated movie. It was my first horror film in a theater, and I was way too young. Way too young. When Jason popped out of the lake at the end of that movie, I screamed, I threw my soda and red vines in the air, and I tore up the aisle screaming out of the theater. I really did that. When Friday the 13th Part 2 came out a year later, less than a year later, I was too afraid to even watch the commercials. I would turn them off the TV if I could, or I would just turn away. I would plug my ears. I was so terrified of Friday the 13th that I missed Part 2 during its original release. However, I did venture back to the theater over the gimmick of Part 3, so I was back there in 1982 to see the third one and then the fourth one, and then I steadily became, I was no longer terrified of them, I was fascinated by these movies. So I've come to a different position on how I see them. I used to see them as terrible and just too scary. Now, when these films came out, a lot of the critics really attacked them too. Audiences loved these Friday the 13th, but the critical reaction was so severe. And I have to wonder, because both of you are at the beginning of your careers when Friday the 13th Part 2 was made, was this movie a roadblock or a stepping stone to what came after for both of you guys? And did you have any, were you aware, or did you face any of that critical backlash that came with these movies?
No. No, next question. I remember because I saw the first one, and I remember, well, that was a really cool movie, and it'd be very cool to be involved in the second one. But at that point, it wasn't a franchise like it is today, and no one knew where it was going to go and how fantastic the fans would be for all these years. So when we did it, we didn't really know what we were doing. I just remember the first one was good. It would be exciting to be cast and go back to that lake. I don't know why we went back when we were dying there, but to go back and do this picture. It was a job. It was a job. I remember carting us up in New York to Kent, Connecticut, where we shot that. And we all went up in a van or something, and we ended up at this campsite. It was a real campsite, right? Yeah. And it was just kind of cool and spooky. It was cool.
Well, the atmosphere definitely transfers to this film. We will be in a summer camp here tonight when this movie plays. Now, I wanted to let you know, I'm curious and wanted to ask both of you, have you read the novel, Friday the 13th Part 2 by Simon Hawke, the official novelization?
I didn't even know there was one.
I didn't either.
There were novels written by the same author. First it was for Jason Lives in '86, and then they did novels for parts 1, 2, and 3 right after. These have become really rare kind of collector's items, but they are fun to read. And I love to read the novelizations when we run these movies here, if they exist, because I like to find out little character details, so I know you guys a little bit better than you may know yourselves.
Probably.
In these movies.
They had the character's head in the book.
Oh yeah, you're all through that book.
Survive it.
In fact, I'm going to just tell you a little something about both of you.
Okay.
And hopefully you'll get a chance to check this out sometime. Scott, in the movie, you are constantly after Terry,
Right.
pulling pranks on her and going after her. And she's constantly kind of putting you off and shooting you down your advances. I want to let you know that Terry really was into you. Terry really dug this guy, but his macho act was just a little too much. And she really wanted you to turn that down because she still thought you were in that pulling the pigtail stage with girls. But you had a shot with her if you kind of
I'll
tone
see if I
that
can
down
find her.
and if you somehow you figure a way to survive the night again.
Does anyone know where she is?
Now for Ted, I wanted to let you know that bar that you go to and that you spend so long drinking at, which in a way saves you. Spoiler alert. But then again, I'm a spoiler alert tonight.
Get
so
drunk.
it's okay. I'm sure most of us have seen it. That waitress that you keep flirting with, she was really into you. And in fact, she waits until closing time when you're so inebriated you can't drive, and then she drives you to her place to take advantage of you. But you're totally fine with it because you've been going after her all night.
Right.
But I wanted to let you know that you actually, on the unluckiest day of the year, you got lucky. You got lucky in a bunch of ways. You survived and you got the bartender.
I feel so much better about myself.
And then one more thing before I'd open it up for the audience. I have to say, and this is more for you, Russell, you made me cry before.
Uh-oh.
This guy made me cry. Let me explain this for just a moment. Even though I knew these were movies, they really affected me the first few Friday the 13th when I was young. I used to have little alone pity parties in my bedroom crying over the sad, unfortunate deaths of these poor, attractive, wonderful young people that I loved so much that were so fun and funny. I didn't cry for you, Ted, because you lived.
I got it.
But I'm glad you lived. But for you, Scott, and all your friends, and Terry, and Alice, and Marcy from the first, and Nettie, and all of you, I used to be so touched and sad about what happened to you guys.
That's great.
So
Thank
I'm
you.
very
That's really
glad
nice.
that you're both alive and safe, and that you're here with us tonight to go back to camp. Now, I would like to open this up to any audience questions. Yes, go ahead.
Well, first off, I have to say my Uber ride here, I'm not kidding, was $13.13. It's already on Twitter. But actually, you know, these movies were pumped out every year. Every year, people like Armando or, you know, flooding the theaters. My generation was more like Saw every year. But I did an event where I worked with Power Rangers, and it turns out because they could pretty much be anyone at some point. They got paid like, you know, the minimum $70 a day, which is a SAG rate. But with a sequel comes a bigger budget, who's paying you guys. And so how was it like, you were all kind of newbies working together, but like, how did they support your guys' like short skirts and, you know, and all that other stuff?
You wearing a shirt?
I don't remember wearing shorts. No. How were we paid?
Yes.
Not well.
Not well.
Yeah, I mean it was pretty much SAG minimum at that time. You know?
We were young and we didn't care.
Yeah, and you know, even if we were somebody at that point, you know, it was still. I don't know what was the budget on that. You know that.
I don't.
You don't know the
I think
budget.
it
You
was.
know what it made.
I think it was like 1.2.
Yes, so today it
or
would be considered
2.2.
like a tier 1 movie, or maybe a tier 2 is what they would call it today. But yeah, very little budget for us. And but the good part is, I was just laughing. I was telling Stu that just 2 days ago I got another residual. So I mean, how many years later? So typically, I'll tell you, it's so little, it's ridiculous. It was about $30, but hey, it's just it's free money that's coming for how many years? When did we do 81?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's right, and then they lifted my death and put it in the beginning of part 4. Is she also?
Well, I did not.
Oh, that's right, you
He
didn't
didn't
tell me,
die.
of course.
He's the only one.
That's right, he's the only one that lives. But they lifted a few of our deaths and put them in part 4, and it opens it. And I had to fight Paramount for 2 years. I had to send them the time codes for my actual visual scenes in that movie to prove I was in it. I said, look at the damn thing. You know I'm in it. But we had to fight them to get residuals, so they would pay me for part 4 as well, which they do. But still, it's dollars. But no, again, to your question, no, we didn't make anything. It was very little. Just a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, being here is one part of it, but
Yeah.
This is yeah.
I have a question.
Actually, I think you did wear a short skirt in this
Shorts.
too. When Teddy jumps out at the campfire with a mask, you have a little furry loincloth and pretty much nothing else.
yeah, I don't remember.
He gives us almost as much skin as the skinny dipping scene in that scene. So keep an eye open.
I'm so
Any more
embarrassed.
questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Oh, me?
We'll go here first. Yeah, no.
I was wondering, what was it like for both of you to work with Steve Miner?
I love Steve. I think he's great. It was like my first movie, or the second movie. So he just hired me, just like it was almost like it was easy. It was very like comfortable and very creative, and he was like immediately like looking at it in a good way.
Yeah, he was a great guy. He was very
Yeah.
easy on the set, very
Right.
comfortable, made you feel good,
Yeah,
let you come up with ideas sometimes.
I made up all my jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting too.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
Steve
really nice
Miner,
guy.
Thank you.
Yeah,
yeah, I think Miner is kind of one of the unsung heroes of this film.
yeah.
And he did really go on to a big career. And I think for a lot of us in this auditorium, his stabby movies tend to be the best, with Friday the 13th 2 and 3 and Halloween H2O. And just to let you know, in case you don't, Steve Miner is in pre-production on a new horror film right now
Oh, that's
called The Exorcism at Lincoln High, I believe, or something very similar to that. So he's going to give us some supernatural horror next.
You should host the premiere.
What's that?
You should host the premiere.
I'd love to. I'd love to get Steve Miner here.
Yeah.
He's awesome. We'll forgive him, Soul Man. Any more
I
questions?
didn't mind.
Yes, right back there.
Russell, what was your most memorable off-screen experience on the movie?
I probably told you, but I don't know if you ever heard me say this before, but it was, and I don't know if this happened to you, but every time we would finish at night, we were in this real campsite, this real summer camp, and you'd walk from the, what was that, the lodge, you recall, with that main building we were in, and you'd walk back this long road with tall trees on both sides of it to get back to your individual cabin where you were sleeping that night. And the other crew members always would screw with you, and so you'd be walking down that thing, you'd hear kill, kill, kill. It's pitch black except for the moon. You know you're making a movie and Jason's not real, but you're still scared. Did that ever happen to you?
No.
Oh. Maybe they were just picking on me.
Was that
Maybe
you?
it's just on you.
Was that
Maybe
you
it was
in the
probably
bushes
you,
doing it?
But yeah, that was very memorable to me. Walking home every night.
Yes, right here.
Silly question, but how long were you hanging upside down?
I think it
Too
was. I remember like an hour to 2 hours, but what they were doing is they would hold me up. So someone would keep the bottom of my head and my torso up, But it took a while, they had to put me in place, the guy had to get up there, they already had the tubing running on my leg and the prosthetic pre-cut. So when they put the machete, and you all know by now the machete was reversed.
Yeah.
I don't know why, whether it was so it really wouldn't cut me or it was just a technical mistake. But
That's funny, the machete was reversed.
yeah, when it goes across my neck, it's backwards. You learned something tonight.
It was plastic though, right?
What's that?
It was plastic though, right?
I don't think it was plastic.
Serious?
Yeah, it was a knife.
This hurts. This hurts.
So, so it was quite a while because they had to, they were still setting lights up and shit. And,
Wow.
I have to ask here, do you wish you had a sticky prosthetic death scene, Stu, in this? Or are you happy that you did?
I think I did.
You can be
Right.
I can't be in another one, but I quit acting. Because it's crazy. Really, getting upset for imaginary reasons? That's what an actor does. Actors are liars. And some really good actors are really good liars. And that's what they do for a living. They lie. They get paid.
I will mention here that I don't know how many of you follow Stu online or on Instagram, but he is a hoot to follow, and I strongly recommend it. And these days he does a lot of poetry and haikus, and he puts them out there, and they're always a joy to read on a daily basis. Check this guy out. He's a lot of fun with what he's doing now.
Here's one of the haikus from Stuart Charno. Or used to be. Here's haiku. Haikus are 575 syllables. So here's acting is easy. You're already doing it. Getting paid is hard. I did 1,000 haikus. That's one of them.
All right, the hand right up here in the center.
So for Russell, after you stopped acting, you went behind the scenes.
Yes.
What were some of the fun projects that you worked on behind the scenes?
Well, when you say behind the scenes, so the rest of you know, I'm now an agent. I represent, you know what Steadicam operators are? The guys that move through shots. So I have about 60 Steadicam operators I represent around the country. And we just started a drone division. So if everyone's ever making a movie, you need a drone. We have drone pilots, drone operators as well. But I've been to so many sets in all these years. I've been doing this about 18 years, the agenting for Steadicam. We shot all the Transformers. That was always cool to go to those. Hunger Games. So many TV series. American Horror. Anything you probably mentioned, one of my clients has probably worked on. But yeah, I used to visit sets a lot when I had the time, but now it's difficult because I find myself in the office a lot, taking care of making deals and seeing what's out there. But it's always fun to visit set.
All right, in the center toward the back.
What kind of challenges did you face when getting involved in the character? Did you have to prepare yourselves, or was there an obstacle during making a scene where you just attach yourself to the character?
Well, they weren't that developed. That it was a lot of work, I would say. But, what would you say about it? I wish, they weren't complex characters. We know that.
So you're just you're acting yourself. You were just playing.
Yeah, although not necessarily ourselves, but
I was mostly like me.
maybe he's right. Yeah, we were.
Because I didn't really know anything about acting. I was not an actor or trained. I was a musician originally. A high-level jazz piano player. But so for me, it was just being me, just saying things like I would say them.
But I had done one movie before that. It's called He Knows You're Alone. It was Tom Hanks' first movie, I think.
Oh, yes.
And I was the very first death in that movie. It was a movie within a movie. I die on the screen. You don't know it's on the screen until someone screams in the theater. And I'm with this girl, we're making out in the back of a car, and I go out and we hear a noise. Next thing she hears a tapping. I don't know if anyone saw it. And I'm hanging upside down, just like in this movie, with my throat slit. So that's why I want to practice for this one.
What the chances?
I'm typecast.
I feel like seeing you upside down. So we could
Must look good upside down.
How many would be interested in if we were to screen He Knows You're Alone?
Oh,
Any people for that?
Brides getting killed on their wedding night.
It's a good
Tom
movie.
Hanks and Don Scartino, I think. He wrote it or directed it. Directed it, I think. I think it was Armand. Yes, he directed it. That's
Yeah.
right.
Maybe we can get him for He Knows You're Alone screening. And you too, Russell.
That would be awesome.
If we can secure that.
Thanks.
I love those retro slashers. All right.
When was the last time you've seen this movie?
And are you watching it tonight?
No and no. I'm not staying for it again tonight. I've seen it so many times, so forgive us.
Yeah.
But I saw it recently at home on DVD because some friends came over and we watched it just to see it. I hadn't seen it before. You know, we did the. You ever see the DVD has some behind the scenes stuff? Is that on that one? Wait a minute, am I mistaken? Oh, that was Chopping Mall, I think. Who has the DVD to this? Anyone? Is there any special features behind the scenes stuff? I forget.
Yeah, there's like a featurette.
But none of we're not interviewed in that.
Nope.
I don't think so.
Isn't there a commentary?
There must be.
Are you on the commentary?
I don't think so.
I think they're both on Crystal Lake Memories.
Yeah, Crystal Lake
Yeah,
Memories.
yeah, or that, that's
Yes.
Yeah.
But the commentary in the second one.
All right, this in the center.
Stu,
Yeah,
you quit acting? What do you do for a living now besides poetry?
I'm retired. I'm also retarded.
Got a haiku there.
I'm sorry, guys.
Over here on the aisle.
What was the mood on set after Warrington was dismissed? And did any of you know beforehand that he was going to be gone?
Who's Warrington?
That might answer.
I don't remember any friction, quite honestly. I don't know who was aware to everyone what was going on with him. I really don't. Do you?
I remember like hanging out with him and near the end we had a beef.
Yeah, I remember
And I
that
didn't
time,
know
but
why.
yeah, I didn't really either. So all that politics was really separate from us.
Yes. We basically don't give a shit.
We did our stuff and went back.
The controversy continues.
Stuart, how trash did you hit in the bar that night?
Well, 12 beers?
That was a start.
Lightweight.
You know, it was a start, but you know, I had the girl to go home to, which I didn't know until I ate the book.
You were too blacked out.
So, you know, it just, I got drunk as I can get, because I didn't want to get killed. Let this be a lesson to all of us.
Already at the bar down the street.
Right. Get drunk, don't get chopped up by monsters.
I'm just curious, like, how many people tried out for the parts that you guys tried out for? In what?
I don't really know, quite honestly. I know I went on just one audition and I got the part. They told me it was going to happen, but I don't know who else they saw or how many people.
Yeah, me too.
We usually don't know.
You usually don't know.
So the casting was like a big line of people trying out for parts.
I mean, you see a few people waiting there. It wasn't like a line out the door like an open casting. You know. But I believe, was it this one? I think I saw it in backstage. Did you get a call from an agent to do this?
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe I just saw it in backstage and I ended up going.
After all, it was 30 years ago. Unbelievable.
30 years ago today.
Do either of you still get fan mail from people?
I still sign autographs. People will send me stuff with that they want me to sign. And send.
Yeah, the same. I still get a lot of fan mail, not just for this, but for other things I've done. And I'm still amazed. You know, you walk on the street and people remember you from something you've done. I did a fan signing show in Indianapolis, I think it was, about a year ago. That was I don't do them often, but that's one I did. And it was a lot of fun. People came from all over the Midwest. It was wild. But yeah, it's amazing how many people still will send pictures. They'll print out their own pictures and mail them to you to sign, or they'll send you long letters about their lives and ask you about your lives. So yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, the Friday family is a special family. We're gonna have time for one more question, and it's all the way in the back.
Hey, Jen, so you guys retired?
I'm sorry?
Retired, you said?
Are we retired?
Or am I tired?
Are you retired?
I'm not tired, and I'm not retired. No, I'm an agent. I represent, like I said, I represent about 60 clients. Is that what your question was?
No, Jeff Daniels, Jeff Daniels, retired and retarded.
Oh. I don't know.
Was that a
I'm not sure if
question?
that's a question or a statement. It's a statement, okay.
Okay.
Somebody take it out.
That is so cool.
All right, we'll do one more right here.
Stuart, I have one non-Friday the 13th question for you.
Oh, all right.
Was it difficult working with all the reptiles and just one of the guys?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I had never handled snakes or lizards before, so I had to make it look like I was in love with them, which I think was a challenge. Because I'm scared of snakes, but I had to be like, no, that's not lunch, that's a snowball. That's lunch. Snowball's a mouse. So, and there's a guy who was hired, who was, he was a reptile guy. That's what he did. So he was like a perfect example of what I was going to be. So I just I just did what he did.
Well, I want to thank you both so much, Stuart
Thank you.
Charno and Russell Fox.
I just want to say to you guys, thank you so much for coming out tonight to see the movie. I mean, we both know it's amazing how this franchise has lived, and we truly appreciate it. And we're shocked at how it's just gone on and on and on. And grateful, and very grateful. So thank you so much for being fans of the movie.
Yes.
Hopefully we can get you back here. We're definitely trying, so thank you both. I want to thank all of you Friday fans for coming out tonight. I wanted to let you know that this is not the only one we're doing this year. On Friday, July 13th, in exactly 3 months, we are going to screen Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. Unlike this screening, that one will be on 35 millimeter. We found a decent print. And we will have director Tom McLaughlin here, and he's working on getting some other special guests and props from the movie, and we're going to make a big show out of that one. That won't be the next Shriekfest Presents. It's just going to be a regular New Art Cine Insomnia Midnight.
Oh.
Our next Shriekfest will be Prom Night in mid-June, so please come back for Prom Night. Two more awesome screenings we're going to tell you about. Next Friday night, Cinephile Video, our friends next door, are putting on the Terminator, the original Terminator. And then the week after that, the only special guest we have for that is me as a robot. So if you want to see that, come next Friday night. The following Friday night, we are doing the rare cult movie Society from 1989. most of you may not have heard of it, but please come. It's a total midnight movie trip. And we will have the director, Brian Usna, here for a Q&A. He is also a huge producer who did many 80s horror classics like The Reanimator and From Beyond and Dolls. He's got a huge career. We're going to talk with him about all of his movies before society. Thank you once again. Let's clear the stage real quickly. And we hope you enjoy Friday the 13th Part 2. I hear it's 1981. And if the event of a fire, emergency, or adjacent attack, please be aware of the emergency exits behind me on the right and left. You can also use the exits as you enter the theater through. Thank you for supporting the New Art and Shriekfest. And here's Friday the 13th Part 2.